Here we are out here at a farm. It's a farm we're just starting to metal detect. You can see through the trees over there, you got Pete. This farm's back in early 1700s, 1800s. We have some stuff that we're looking at, and different stuff on the farm. We got some old outbuildings over here, as you can see, and some buildings over here. I figure it's probably maybe 300 acres. Could be more, could be less. The old rum runners back in the day on the Mississippi River used to run this river, so we may find some old coins and some old artifacts and stuff. I guess they had themselves an old dump here, which is pretty neat. Some just old stuff, all just old buildings and old pickup truck, which is a pretty neat thing to find. It's something kind of a little bit historical, Got some of the old cars and stuff in here like that. Got some really big old trees. I mean, that tree has to be at least 250 years old, 300 years old, as big as it is. An old kind of willow tree or cedar tree. An old Plymouth, an old Chevy over there. And we have some of these big cedar trees. This used to be the old road. As you can see, as you're going down here, the old road through the cedar trees, which is pretty neat. Something different. And then when you come over this way, I don't want to swing the camera too fast, you see the other two outbuildings and the older building here. Some of the older buildings, the old, looks like a spring house or outhouse over there, or privy, or what you want to call them. The neat part of this structure, what I like, is this they used to build back in the 1700s. The wall. It's pretty neat. And down this cart route, which I thought was the old driveway, but Pete was telling me on the Beers map and on the 1718 map, this was actually a road that ran along the Mississippi River and then came out towards where the new bridge would be, or down along the river to the, I'm pretty sure, that island over there. That's one of the neat things about, I guess, doing the research. I find it, he researches it, my wife researches it, and then we try to find what we're looking for. So this is the old house. We figured this was the front yard. That's some of the other outbuildings over here. And you have this over here. This is some of the old structures and old stuff like that, the old building here, as you can see, which is pretty cool. Zoom it out a little bit for you. So you can see the big structure of this house back in the woods. I mean, it's probably one of the nicer places back in the day. This is some of the places we look for, to metal detect. See if we can't find some pretty decent stuff that we can metal detect. It's a little rough, as far as you can see. All the trees and all the stuff that's down, but during the day, it's not too bad. You figure winter, we had a bad winter, so it killed a lot of the stuff and left a lot of the stuff on so we could metal detect it. In the summertime, you probably couldn't get near it from all the sticks and weeds and just all the junk. There's a little bit of a look in there at old antique player piano is still in there. Tell me that isn't a cool thing. Old player piano still in the building. It's just pretty cool. You'll think, hey, you know, player piano and upright. It's a neat thing, man, to find this stuff. Look at that. Is that cool or what? You would think, man, maybe they got some stuff hidden in the wall still, or some of the stuff that it's just amazing. It just looks like people just, you know, left the building and just left the stuff here, you know. So it's one of the things that's just is intriguing that people just leave, you know. And that's the old, where the old stovepipe. They would have a big boiler right in the middle of their floor years ago. It would just sit in there. It was set in there years ago. I don't want to go in the building in case you are. It's pretty neat stuff. Yeah, it's pretty neat stuff in here. This is the old basement. It's got the old brick style basement where you used to go to the building. I'm not going to go down there, but let me see if I can lighten this up for you. Look at the old bottles and stuff in there. Is that incredible or what? I put it on night vision, but I can see in there. That's not too much, so pretty neat. But this is sorry about that. Here's an old, what do you call, crock? Which is pretty cool. Another piece. There's another shot of the Mississippi River. Well, where we're going to go, it's East Coast Metal Detecting.4t.com, and I figured I'd do a little bit of videoing before I get the metal detecting and see if we can't find some good stuff. And after the hunt, just like the other videos, I'll let you know, and I'll show you what we find. And maybe I'll tell you, you know, some of the settings I used to see if if it works good on your XLT. And Pete uses a Mind Lab, and we'll see what goes on with what we find here. But it's East Coast Metal Detecting.4t.com, and I'll talk to y'all later. We'll see what we find, and hey, we're in that old house after metal detecting, and we pulled up the carpet, and we're underneath the linoleum floor. We have what I guess they used as insulation for the floor. Is a lot of newspapers dating back to 1932 and probably older. But that's Pete over there.
We get the exact date off this.
Rifling through the newspapers. Just another thing of metal detecting.
September 13th, 1932.
Which is pretty
cool.
Yeah, pretty neat stuff about the history and stuff. But it's that old house. Some of the stuff at the inside. Sure, there's been a bunch of people in here.
Yeah, but they didn't know anything about this stuff under the linoleum.
Yeah, right. They definitely didn't know about the floors like that. So if you ever go into a house, an old house, pull the floor up, check them underneath the linoleum. That's pretty neat stuff, and a lot of the papers we're finding are from like Theodore Roosevelt and some of the stuff on Roosevelt and everything. So that's pretty neat. We took a few of the papers. We don't know if we're going to tear this house down or.
Yeah, there ain't no beer in there.
No beer in the fridge. But anyway.
Looks like somebody was shooting holes in it, but.
Yeah. Yeah. The old stovepipes and stuff. So. Well, that's one of the things I've been looking at. So. Some of the newspapers. But the whole